And so to me, when I think about cooperative training and the ongoing cooperative training, it's really those basic principles of what is a cooperative, how do we operate. I don't think it's to the point of how do I file my income tax return. And so, it's not the nitty gritty, but it's a general operating philosophies of a cooperative business structure. And I think the better handle the board has on that, I think the higher the probability of success. Now, I'm not going to quit there. If our cooperative has membership that's significantly larger than the board, how are we educating our members on the general cooperating principles? Because if I'm joined in this cooperative and I'm asked to plunk down $5,000 as a member to create capital to operate the cooperative, if I don't understand what I just agreed to do or how this business is going to function, I could get disenchanted pretty quickly, or I can go, if I can get a dime more somewhere else for my product, I might leave, not understanding that I'm an owner and the kind of the guiding principles behind a cooperative philosophy. I mean, when I was doing this research, most of the cooperatives I were looking at were small in size and scale. So there wasn't that issue of educating the masses like a rural electric cooperative might have. But again, I think we have to be diligent. We can't forget that that's part of the mission of the organization, part of the philosophy in which we're organized. And so I think that's a constant, I don't want to say challenge, I think it's activity maybe, a constant activity of the leadership of a cooperative is to continually do cooperative education. The percentage of people in this country that fully understand a cooperative and the philosophy and the guiding principles behind a cooperative is pretty small. And so more than likely the person you're going to hire to work in this cooperative business doesn't have a good understanding of the company. And so I think helping employees, whether that be through employee in-service, whether that be through something in their paycheck, just talking about the cooperative philosophy, again, any way we can reach them, I think would be good. We even now, I mean, I'm backing up. I'm showing my age. If you talk today, I mean, we have so many social media campaigns we can use, and so how do we connect with our members and our employees to help them understand the philosophy behind the business? As a farmer, I was a member of Milk Marketing Incorporated, and we had marketing agreements that we signed with the dairy co-op for our milk. And so we couldn't just jump ship the next day. Somebody offered a little bit more money, and so it kept us tied to that cooperative. And to me, when I think about marketing agreements and the importance, and the research clearly showed that they were important, but when I think about that, we're going to create a group of producers that are going to come together and we're going to try to gain market entry. And so if I can go to a wholesaler, to a retailer and say, I can provide you with X amount of product, and I know I'm going to have that product because we have signed marketing agreements, it helps with market entry. And then the other thing that I think happens almost immediately, soon as we gain market entry, we are now competition. And so our former channels of marketing, they're going to see us as competition. They're going to raise their prices to outbid us. They have deeper pockets than we do as a fledgling new cooperative. And all of a sudden the members are going to say, well, gee whiz, I can go over there for a nickel or a dime more. Why do I want to continue to bring to the cooperative? But then as soon as the cooperative is gone again, their prices aren't going to stay up. And so I think those marketing agreements prevent members from bailing and going after that dime after the market adjusts to our existence as a cooperative. Now, the other thing with marketing agreements that I think we talk about, a lot of the cooperatives that I interviewed during the research were vegetable marketing cooperatives that came in the first time tobacco prices really went down low. And so there was a lot of farmers that were used to growing tobacco, and now we're growing bell peppers and broccoli and other vegetables. And part of the education that did not happen, and I don't know how to solve this, but if you think about the tobacco industry, if I have a hailstorm on my tobacco field, I get docked, but I can still sell that product. If I have a hailstorm on my bell pepper field, I can no longer sell that. And so part of the struggle they had, even if they had marketing agreements in place, was the farmers delivering the quality of product needed to meet the agreements they had with the person they were selling to. And so again, it's another issue, because if we're going to do a marketing agreement, I think there has to be quality standards involved in that marketing agreement as well. Quality. Again, if we're going to start a cooperative to start a new product, and a lot of times we're talking about creating a new product. I can remember back when we had the Christmas tree growers come together. And again, not everybody was using the same production practices, not everybody was using and so our quality at the end that we were trying to deliver was from A to Z. And so again, I think we have to make sure that we've first agreed on what it is we're going to produce and how we're going to produce it before we can agree on that we'll market it together. And so I think that's very important to start with that, because if you have a much different product, we're not going to sell organic eggs and commercial eggs through the same co-op more than likely. And so again, having that divergence in quality at the co-op level, trying to market it, I think is something that should be addressed first. Well, to me, we're going to back up a step. Before we get to the point of needing to enforcement, I think there's a huge educational component. Just physically having a marketing agreement, physically talking with that new member, what that means, and that they're going to sign this, and what the ramifications of not fulfilling that are. I mean, ultimately, it's going to play out in the court system. That's our legal way of dealing things in the U.S. And then it becomes of, do we want to do this as a co-op? If too many of our members bail and don't honor their marketing agreements, I might be bankrupt and I'll have money for an attorney anyway. So it might become a moot point. But I think if we can at least have the existence of a marketing agreement, do the educational piece up front. Here is what you're committing to do. And you mentioned it earlier. Here's the likely market reaction to our existence, because they don't want competition. They were enjoying their high profit margin, buying low from us and selling high. And so we're now competition. So this is likely to occur. Don't let that scare you. Don't let that influence you, because if everybody runs back to the market and we fail, then they're going to return to their previous behavior. So the need that creates us will return if we go out of business. And so to me, it's more of an educational piece. But I mean, physically signing that piece of paper and understanding that there could be legal action, even though it might be highly unlikely, I think still is a very important piece.